Real quick, let's talk about a refugee story you've never heard. The year is 1910, and Japan has just annexed Korea. Things get brutal fast. To escape the repression, hundreds of thousands of Koreans are pouring over the border into China. By 1920, the Korean population in Manchuria has reached nearly 500,000. But it wasn't just soldiers and rebels crossing the border. At the time, Japanese authorities were cracking down on Christian networks. They believed these churches were hiding the core of the resistance. That fear turned thousands of Christian families into wanted refugees, including a Presbyterian family from Pyongyang. In 1920, they left Korea and settled in a tiny Chinese county called Fusong, just 72 kilometers from the border. This family brought their boys with them. The eldest one was 8 years old. Now, here's the irony. That kid did not grow up to be a priest. He grew up to be a living God. His name was Kim Il-sung. That's right, the man who founded North Korea and started the Kim dynasty actually spent his most formative years in China.
Hello viewers, I am currently standing in front of an elementary school in Fusong County. This school behind me might seem ordinary to you, but about 99 years ago, one of the most important human beings ever lived studied here for over a year. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the Fusong Experimental Primary School, the very school that Kim Il-sung studied.
In his early years in China, Kim Il-sung and his family lived in this county bordering current-day North Korea. This is also where his parents died and were buried initially. All their remains are now in North Korea, but before 1947, Kim Il-sung's parents' tombs were here. While he was here, he made a lot of Chinese friends, and one of them who was particularly close to him was a guy called Zhang Weihua. The two boys grew up together, their fathers were friends, and they shared one goal, which was to fight against the Empire of Japan.
So in 1925, the two went to the same school, which is the one behind me. Back then it was known as Fusong County First Elementary School, or in Chinese, Fusong县第一小学.
By the way, in case you're wondering, Kim Il-sung spoke perfect Chinese. Some even claim his Chinese was actually better than his Korean. Yeah, wrap your head around that. Anyways, in 1926, the two went to different cities. Zhang moved to Shenyang for middle school, and Kim Il-sung moved to Jilin city, also for middle school. But the two didn't lose contact. On the contrary, they were getting even closer. Over the years, Zhang provided tremendous help to Kim Il-sung's People's Revolutionary Army, food, medicine, clothes, you name it. However, in October 1937, he was captured by the Japanese agents. They interrogated him about the whereabouts of Kim Il-sung, and he refused to tell them and committed suicide a few days later. He was only 24 years old. After the establishment of North Korea, Zhang Weihua was honored as a revolutionary martyr as he died on behalf of Kim Il-sung. And this memorial next to me, which is unfortunately closed today, was built by Kim Il-sung himself. Every tree, every brick, every glass you see in here was transported directly from North Korea.
So I have to film through the door. which is not very ideal, but what can I do? Have to improvise.
Right, before I forget, I actually know someone who went there for school. His family owns the largest cafe franchise in the region and is perhaps the wealthiest in Fusong County. If you ever visit the ski resorts among Changbai, there's a high chance you will end up at one of his stores. He told me that when he was a kid, North Korea would send groups of school children to perform at the school every year. Those kids were only 6 or 7 years old, yet they had to perform all day with almost no rest.
So after finishing elementary school in Fusong County, Kim Il-sung went to a military academy for less than a year, and then he moved to Jilin, about 300 kilometers north of Fusong, and attended the school behind me, Jilin Yuwen Middle School. Yuwen Middle School was founded in 1917, and interestingly, in the 1920s, a lot of prominent Chinese intellectuals taught here, including Guo Moruo and Zhang Yue. And this school quickly became the center of all sorts of left-wing activities. Kim Il-sung attended here for 2.5 years, starting in 1927. He was absolutely penniless while he was here and lived in a very cheap dormitory owned by a church around here. His father had passed away by then, so he had to live on his mom's very modest earnings. That's Kim Il-sung right here. Famous alumni, Kim Il-sung. But despite being poor, Kim Il-sung was a very active student. And in the spring of 1929, he was arrested for his anti-Japanese activities and was expelled from here. Anyways, 2 years after he was kicked out from here, Kim Il-sung joined the Chinese Communist Party. And the rest is history. So in some ways, this school behind me made Kim Il-sung. That river, by the way, is the Songhua River. The Manchus call it the Songgaliwula. And the school is just right by the Songgaliwula. The North Korean leadership obviously thinks very highly of this place and has been sending students and high-ranking officials to visit from time to time. In September 2010, Kim Jong-il visited China, and Yuwen Middle School was his first stop. Within a few days after his visit, he pronounced the 26-year-old Kim Jong-un as his successor. 2 months after Kim Jong-il's visit, the premier of North Korea also came here. This multiple visits to Yuwen Middle School was associated with Kim Il-sung's youth and became a political message to the North Korean public. Basically, they were trying to reassure the North Koreans that they were going to be in good hands. Kim Jong-un was the right choice. He might be a bit too young, he might be a bit inexperienced to lead a country, but full of potential, just like his grandfather, Kim Il-sung. This is the back of the school. It says 革命圣地，伟人故里，人才摇篮. Like the holy ground for the revolution, the hometown for the great people. In this case, it's Kim Il-sung. 人才摇篮 is where all the talented were born, were raised. Again, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-un. Yep, that's about it. I need to go home now. This is too cold.
If you're still watching and want to know more about the 2 Koreas and the 1 Korean autonomous prefecture in China, feel free to check out this video. It's a pretty deep dive into the subject. If you're interested in working with me or have resources to share, please check out this video and send me an email. If you're still here because you like my work and have some extra bucks lying around, please check out the pinned comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Jingwu out. Jingwu out.